Yes, I greet everybody as you they join me or they see me anyway where you follow the enter. I greet you and I must say you are all welcome. You get as he be, but he be as he get also. We are Biafrans and we are not going to stop fighting until we get our freedom full. If you all remember that song by Bob Marley, he said, how long shall they kill our prophet? Why will stand beside and look? Some say it's just a part of it, but we must fulfill the book. I no be a musician, but at least you know go say my voice no good. But the most important thing is to pass the message, and I have passed the message. Today, today I just want to talk, and I am open to discussion. One problem I have come to realize about us, is that we don't value or believe anything that is our own. We don't respect anything we have. Anything where we get, we know the value and we know the respect them. I don't know if that makes sense at all to anybody. That thing that is our own, we don't value it. We always see it as nothing. We always see it as useless. We always see it as needless. But at the end of the whole matter, at the end of the whole matter, we will always come back crying for that thing. What we have, others don't have. Others are crying, clamoring, fighting, dying to get what we have already. Yet we don't have value for anything that is our own. Anything at all, we don't have value for it. Where should we start from? Where? You want us to start with Mazenam Dekano? You want us to start with Ojuku? You want us to start with where? From where do you want us to start with? Our problem is that what we have to us is useless. But when another people pick a little from that thing where we get, can't give us with the value. Today, the discussion all over, everywhere in the world, everywhere in this world is Babangida made confession. Babangida confessed. Babangida have confessed. Babangida made confession. And I am asking a question. What did Babangida confess? I, as a kid, knew. I don't understand anything, but I remember my uncles reading news watch and explaining, and they will be discussing, and I will ask questions because I like asking questions as a little boy then. And I was told about Delegiwa. I never knew who Delegiwa is because as at then I was too small. I don't know. You don't even see newspaper, not to talk of. So we only get magazines and look at the pictures in the magazine then. So I remember my uncle discussing Delegiwa. I remember very well that day where we are. I can even remember, see it as if it is right now. And my uncle, from what they read, made me to understand that IBB sent the letter bomb to Delegiwa to Mott. As little as I was then in 80s. that can't even read his name. I knew. As little I was, as I began to hear, I saw my grandfather throw away heaps of money. I grabbed it and run back to him. He said he don't need it. I ran to my mommy with this big bunch of money. Big money. I could not pack all of them. The ones I could grab. I ran to my money. Mommy, grandpapa threw away this big money. He said he don't want again. My mommy was laughing. He said they go Biafra. I said, eh? I said, mommy, we have a plenty big money. My mama said, it's Ego Biafra. We don't use it. That was the first time I saw Biafran currency as a little boy. I never forget the story my mommy told me that day about Biafra because I asked a question. I ask question. I ask questions. I'm somebody that want to find out. So anything I see, I want to know better. I want to know more. He told me about Ojuku. She told me about Ojuku. Told me about the war. I never knew there was anything like war. She told me about the war. She told me about how Amoka. I said, that Mocha here. He said, yes, that aeroplane used to land there. I said, but I never see it. He said, that was then. I never forget. Then one of our aunties were married in Amoka. And when the brother will go to visit, we will always want to go with him to take us to that particular field where aeroplane and ammunitions were stored. And when we go there and we will pick pieces of irons, pieces of aeroplane that were bombed, that were scattered, pieces of arms. And we will be celebrating that we were there in Amoka where aeroplane landed. My question is this. If we already know that Babangida killed Delegewa, if we already know that Sadwana of Sokoto, Sadwana of Kaduna adopted what is his name? Shukuma, Ali Shukuma Zogo. Listen to Ali Shukuma. I think Ali Shukuma Zogo or Kaduna Shukuma Zogo. We knew as a little baby. Shukuma Zogo never knew where he came from as Okpanam. Shukuma Zogo don't even know anything about Okpanam. Shukuma Zogo knew and believed himself to be from Kaduna. We all know. I read the book I said while I was little. I was in class 2, just 2. I read the book. My cousins that were in that finished secondary school read Why We Struck. I read that book. And from that book, as I then, I remember that the little I could understand then, I would like to read the book again if I will lay my hands on it. It's a book to read. Why We Struck. If you read that book, you don't need Babangida to come and explain to you that the coup was Igbo coup, wasn't an Igbo coup. You will find out how many Igbos were in that coup and why they were involved and how they get involved. They were involved because they knew they are smart and intelligent. We know all these things. But today, Babangida just come and write one useless book that filled with lies and coated with something like truth. And we are jubilating. Oh, Babangida has come to make a revelation. How can something you know before be a revelation to you? Something you know that they have turned to lies, and you are sure you know. I do remember sometime last year, before Okwadike died, that there the same Igbo people gathered and they planned to go begging the Funanis in the north. I don't know how many of us remember. And the audio leaked. They denied it. And the foolish Shefulefu that made that audio that didn't know he was recorded came back to say he made a mistake. That wasn't what he wanted to say. Emmanuel Iwenyamu with the co, they planned and they went. They still went to beg the Fulanese in the north. They went to beg the Fulanese in the north. And what did they get? Did anything change? Have anything changed? Nothing changed. And nothing have changed. And nothing will ever change. Will they get the message? Nothing have changed and nothing is going to change. We get the message. Ojukwu came and told our people that since 1945 they have been murdering us in numbers. Let us fight to separate ourselves. Oh. Zik, we don't need to be in Nigeria. Zik said we have to be in Nigeria to have a bigger nation. Zik are killing our people in the north. Zik say it doesn't matter. It's a price we have to pay for peace. I wish Zik, as he were somewhere, will be watching to see the peace he have negotiated with the blood of our people. I wish Azikiwe would be watching and enjoying the peace he have negotiated and fought for with the blood of our people. That no amount of blood will be enough for this peace to be made or to be established. Even the one in the Calabar, what is his name? Tom West, not Tom West, what is his name that just passed away last 2 weeks or last week? Clark. Tom Clark. Is it Tom Clark or something like that? Clark. Mr. Clark, anyway. As he was dying, almost 90 years, he was begging, his last wish is that everybody should continue to fight to make Nigeria one good, beautiful, loving family. That Clark was there when Nigeria was created. He was there with his education. 90 years, Nigeria is just 60 years, right? Nigeria is just 65 years. So 90 years, he should be 25 years at least of age. Or 20 years of age when Nigeria was created. He knew that before Nigeria was created, he had a better life. And then after the creation of Nigeria, that is Edwin Clark. Thank you, Nolene. Thank you so much. Edwin Clark. After Nigeria was created, that good life turned to bad life. Nothing ever changed, but nothing ever changed for good, but for bad. Ever since Nigeria was formed, and as he was dying, he was. Listen, I don't know who he was giving that advice to. Probably his children. Yeah, because he had one monoga to probably his family, his children and great grandchildren, grandchildren and great grandchildren. He was telling them, make sure you keep fighting, building. Your people will go to school at the end of their school career. They will end up Okada riders. They will end up fishers that have no water to fish from. They will end up building floating houses in the water, on the water. They end up dying of sickness, infections from polluted environment by oil, their own oil. They end up being securities for the people that are taking what belongs to them free of charge. They end up being cleaners. They end up being clerks, servants, megats to people that come to take their oil. They will remain servants. That is the one Nigeria you are begging people to remain in. Chineke na mere anyị ebere. Today, Ojukwu came back and said, no, my people, we are not going to continue in this. Since 1945, our people have been dying in the north. We don't need to remain in this Nigeria with them. Let us go. They said to Ojukwu, you are evil child. You must die, Ojukwu. As few as believed in him, he moved on with them to establish Biafra. Biafra was declared. They were happy. They were celebrating. I think about 2 weeks or so, Gowon came and started shooting into the land of Biafra. Yet, they did not tell you today the so-called useless Efulefus in Igbo land are telling you that Ojukwu went to war because Ojukwu decided to defend them. I don't know if somebody is getting the message. Ojukwu decided to defend them because somebody that came to your land shooting guns, what is the aim of that person? Is it not to wipe you away? Is it not to wipe away your generations? And I will prove to you. Listen, I want you to listen to this. Listen. Because when we are talking, people do not understand.
How are you this beautiful Sunday evening? I hope you are okay. You were able to enjoy your weekend and you had a lovely cause to listen adequately. Now, this person on X responding said that the recent revelation dissect categorically how that war created a political imbalance. Will I say mutilated our political structure, aligned, will I say gave a particular discoloration to an ethnic group, which obviously the generations who were not yet born are suffering for the consequences up till now.
We are going to be listening to an audio from a journalist that came from America to witness what is happening. Was this truly a war? This is the same thing we are witnessing today. Nigeria state is only planning to wipe you away, and you are not seeing it. It has happened before, and it is happening again. They send their foot soldiers in the name of Funani headers. Yet we don't see it. We don't understand it. They send the uniformed soldiers to mount roadblocks so you will not escape. We have Navy checkpoint, we have Air Force checkpoint, we have military checkpoint, we have DSS checkpoint, we have drug and law enforcement checkpoint, we have road safety checkpoint, we have VIO checkpoint, we have police checkpoint, we have what do you call them? Special force checkpoint. You can name it. Call. We go on and on. Listen, listen.
Mr. Forsyth, you claim that what's happening in Biafra is genocide and massacre on a very large scale. What evidence do you have for this?
It's mainly three.
That is the journalist that came. I want you to know that nobody, before you listen to this, I want you to understand. Nobody, none of them, Azikiwe knew that Ojukwu was going to Ghana for negotiation. Azikiwe, have you asked yourself, why didn't Nnamdi Azikiwe go to Ghana with Ojukwu? Why? Why didn't Michael Opara go to Ghana with Ojukwu? Have you imagined that? I am just beginning to ask myself, why did all these people abandon Ojukwu to carry all this thing on his head alone? Because they want to answer good people. Are you getting the message? They want to answer good people. They have already come to understand that the only way to live is to be a good people who will remain subject to the Fulani Caliphate in Nigeria. You don't have any other choice but to bow to these people. Even before you sleep with your wife, your husband, you have to bow your head. Even before you go to marry, you will bow. Before you do anything, you have to obtain permission from them. They have to approve you. You have to tell them what you have to do. They have to sign your manifesto. They have to sign your plans. They have to sign your curriculum. They have to sign your everything you have to do to carry out. They will sign it. If they don't sign it, it doesn't matter if your own immediate family support you. It doesn't matter if Nigeria do not reign or rule by vote, by appointment. No, they rule by submission to the caliphate, the Fulani Caliphate. Anybody, if you like, your brother should be in the office of anything, ministerial appointment, you are there on a contract. This we all know. You can never be in any position in Nigeria without being there for contract. You sign the contract, and when we come here to tell you, you don't understand. You don't want to believe. The only reason why you are a commissioner, you are a minister, you are a governor, you are a local government chairman, you are whatever you are, whatever, whoever, however, is because you have accepted to work as a contractor. And I want you to understand as well that whenever you are being contracted to do anything, you have to sign a document and you have to work according to the document. Any day you go against the contract rules and regulation, you have to face the consequences. It's either you go to prison or you'll be chased out of office. So when you see people like Bianco No fighting against the coming of Biafra, fighting against the survival of our people, fighting against the people defending themselves because she has signed the contract. When you see Soludo today indirectly introducing Sharia, indirectly introducing the dress code of Sharia in our land, is because Soludo have signed the contract. When you see Hopus of them are doing what he's doing today, you see Ebonyi, you see Enugu, because they have signed the contract. You see anybody, be it in Lagos, Lagos, you are Yoruba people are on contract. It is a clear and clear proof that they have told you, and it is true, and you cannot change it. That is why when we continue to fight these people, at the end of the road, we cannot achieve anything, because these people have sown their lives and souls to obtain that contract. You see them protecting and they're defending. They can't help it. Their only savior, their only help, their only salvation is that Biafra come, is that this freedom come. That is why we tell you that the freedom we are talking about is not just freedom for those you see today clamoring for freedom. The freedom is mostly for those that has been chained, that are in bondage, those that can't free themselves. They are stopped. They want freedom, but they cannot open their mouth to tell you they want freedom. That is why when they go to where do you call it? When they go to Senate, they cannot speak. If you dare open your mouth to demand to know the reason why the allocation were not given, they will tell you to sit down. Don't worry, we will talk to President. Next time you will be included. Is it not what we'll get? Am I lying? Is it not what they have been getting? Is it not what they have been served all these years? The same thing. The same thing all these years. So what is the difference? What is the difference? Let us listen to the video.
Partly my own eyewitness experiences. I followed the Biafran army very closely on a number of occasions. At one occasion, at Onitsha, I came across 300 members of the Apostolic Church of Onitsha slaughtered by the Federal 2nd Division.
Did you actually see these bodies?
Yes, I helped clear them out of the road. The Biafran army was so shocked they wouldn't march past them. It took us 18 hours to clear the bodies out of the way. And they had all had their hands tied behind their backs and had been shot at close range. On another occasion,
Did you hear his first testimony? Over 300 people. And the interviewer was asking him, did you see this with your eyes? He said, yes, I saw them. Their hands were tied behind them. And they were. So when you see all this tying of hands, you see the model they are using to tie hands now, they will tie their hands behind and start flogging them, because either they steal one chicken, or they lied, or they were fighting, or they are being suspected for one thing or the other. They will catch them and they tie their hands like this. I want you to remember where they are coming from. I want you to remember where they are going to. The American journalist is telling you that he came to witness what is happening for real. And when he came to Biafra land, he found out that the military, over 80,000 or 800,000 soldiers, Nigerian soldiers, both borrowed soldiers, contracted soldiers, that were sent to Biafra land, were not actually sent to fight against the Biafran soldiers. They were sent to cleanse the land of Biafra, to wipe away everything, even to the point of the helicopter fighters and the aeroplane fighters were sent to bomb every house, every church, anywhere you see any movement. Make sure you wipe it away. And they went to a church, over 300 people that were taking refuge in the church. All their heads were tied back, close range. Abowasia hisi hansha. And after Abowasi shira hisi, atawaha along the road. That is what the man is telling you. Did you see them yourself? He said, yes, I did. Listen.
For the Southeast, in terms of they have been regionally, will I say, amalgamated. They have, in terms of on the political scene, they have been isolated on several.
You may ask yourself, why am I doing this? I am doing this because nobody will believe you for standing on the truth. Nobody. If you see the useless, brainless talk, ask you, get your pen and paper. You want to talk like Nnamdi Kanu, but you are not Nnamdi Kanu. I told you people that this their useless government is based on Sani Akbarawa and Ogechikunke. When you see them doing their presentation, who do you see there? Is it not Sani Akbarawa and Ogechikunke? Have you asked yourself, Deputy Prime Minister, where is your COS? Where is your not the deputy? What is he answering himself? Prime Minister acting, Prime Minister acting, acting Prime Minister. Where is your COS? Where is your information minister? Where is your defense secretary? Where is your this one? Have you asked themselves that? That's why they can, because they know they are living in lies. And the people that live in lies are people that they want to believe rather than the people that are telling them the truth. They never believed in Nnamdi Kanu. Even till now that they have understood that Nnamdi Kanu is unjustly detained and locked up and denied his access, his right, his human right benefit, yet they are not demanding for the freedom of Nnamdi Kanu. They are demanding for money. Fools everywhere. And you think they will not sell you to get the money? You will ask yourself, even if they say Biafra land, where are they going to? They cannot live in Biafra land because their families have already acquired their mansions abroad. So they will collect the money and sell your land.
Locations economically, the the landlord war, he decided to visit there, and launching of his autobiography pulled the controversy that the Igbos do not deserve any
300 members of the Apostolic Church of Nisha slaughtered by
revelation of former military leader General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida that the January 1966 coup was
300 members of the Apostolic
dissect categorically a British national who tried to come experience the war, especially from his own angle. He gave an account during an interview then, because the British government was giving a different story to the British media, to the international media, as to.
Did you get that? So those that are holding on for one country to come and help you, British, knowing that the fight is not against Biafran soldiers, but against innocent women and children, against even the sick, the disabled, every movement in Biafra land. Britain was reporting in British, was reporting in the land of British, that they are fighting soldiers. The fight was never meant to be against soldiers. And I want you to know, if not that they blocked, if not for the blockade, Nigeria have lost the battle. And the British came up with the idea, block their food, block their source of food. And when they block the food, when they block the entrance of food relief, after some Christian organizations were bringing in food for Biafrans. Voluntarily, they bring in food, and that will never be enough. Some NGOs. And after Obasanjo, the criminal Obasanjo, have succeeded in manipulating Effion to surrender, They were talked into surrendering, manipulating Afion to surrender. Gowon came out and told them that for those organizations, Christian organizations, NGOs, coming to supply food to the people you blocked from getting food, they will never come to Nigeria for anything. You will never give them access. That's why you don't see CBN and the rest of them in Nigeria. Ever since then, Nigeria have chased them away because they wanted you to die in hunger, and these people tried to sustain you. Imagine that there was no way these people have tried to sustain the innocent people, innocent women, innocent children for that 3 years. Don't you know that everywhere should have been like Hiroshima? Nobody should have been anywhere. You wouldn't have seen a lizard. No. Like I told you, I want us to listen. I'm not going to be interrupting again. You will understand that this video, the war was not actually meant to go and combat the soldiers, but to wipe away every Biafran, just the same way they are doing today. When instead of confronting the Biafran soldiers, they will go to community and wipe away innocent people, burn their markets, use bulldozer and bulldoze their houses. If they don't carry it out by military, they will carry it out by Soludo. They will carry it out by Asari Tokobo. They will by enemies.
To the true state of things in the country at the time. And Forsyth came to give his own narrative as to what transpired and what exactly was on ground then. I want us to take a keen listen to the interviewer and the interviewee. There was Mr. Forsyth was one of the persons who was on ground. He followed the Biafran army and he gave his own personal account of what he witnessed during the war, and he gave a perception of what he considered was coming from the Nigerian government way back then, obviously being headed by General Yakubu Gowon. So let's patiently take a listen to this. It's important for us to use this history to have a logical analysis of the conversation this evening. We're not trying to reawaken any old wounds, but we want to dissect categorically how that war created a political imbalance. Will I say mutilated our political structure, aligned, will I say gave a particular discoloration to an ethnic group, which obviously the generations who were not yet born are suffering for the consequences up till now.
Mr. Forsyth, you claim that what's happening in Biafra is genocide and massacre on a very large scale.
Yes.
What evidence do you have for this?
It's mainly threefold. Partly my own eyewitness experiences. I followed the Biafran army very closely on a number of occasions. At one occasion, at Onitsha, I came across 300 members of the Apostolic Church of Onitsha slaughtered by the Federal 2nd Division.
Did you actually see these bodies?
Yes, I helped clear them out of the road. The Biafran army was so shocked they wouldn't march past them. It took us 18 hours to clear the bodies out of the way. And they had all had their hands tied behind their backs and been shot at close range. On another occasion...
Did you count these bodies?
Personally, one by one, no. The estimate was 300. I think it was a fairly fair estimate. They were piled as high as a man's shoulder, like logs stacked on the roadside. On another occasion, a man whom I know was a photographer working for the Biafrans took a photograph very shortly after a village had been completely wiped out. And you can see still the bodies lying around the market square where they were shot down. Secondly, from eyewitness sources, survivors of the massacres. And thirdly, from interrogations of federal prisoners who, when the Igbo captors have been sent out of the way, admit, quite frankly, that they are there to wipe out Igbo. That's what they admit.
But what do they say that their orders were?
They don't mention what their orders were. They don't seem to be taking any notice of orders anymore. They're taking frightful casualties, and in revenge for these casualties, they seem to be going on a blood rampage, which has nothing to do with what Lagos is saying about the rehabilitation of the Igbo and how they're all going to be treated as equal citizens of Nigeria. In other words, there is such a disparity between what Lagos is saying on the one hand and what the Federal Army is actually doing on the ground, that one has to come to the conclusion either Lagos is lying, and I don't think they are, I think they're quite sincere, or that the Federal Army of 80,000 brand new raw conscripts has gone out of control.
What about the bombing of Biafra? The federal government has claimed that they've only been attacking strategic targets.
Well, this is absolute nonsense. They may have given orders for the attacking of strategic targets, but the pilots they're using are almost exclusively Egyptian. And I've examined too many sites of bombing raids to be of any other conclusion that, almost without exception, they go straight for civilian centers. Anything that's protected by even light machine guns, they stay well away from. They just go down on schools, hospitals, and the African townships and the markets, all of which, during the course of a working day, are crammed with women and children. Very little else.
There is other evidence. On January the 29th,
I hope you heard him very well. That they will come to Lagos and tell you that they are fighting Biafran soldiers. But he said, forget all those nonsense. They are lies. That they send their helicopters and aeroplanes to fight, to bomb schools, to bomb hospitals, to bomb marketplaces, to bomb residential houses. Did you hear that? That their target is children and women. Because they know that by the time they wipe your children and the women away, you will not have tomorrow. This is what people are not getting. You will be wondering why children and women, why are they taking your young men today, kidnapping your... If you see the Imo River, Abia State, Imo River, over 30 or 300 bodies mutilated and harvest, Rinda harvest, Buru Chande Burebu. You know, understand? They are all women, mostly women, 80% women. By the time they take away all the women and all the young men, who are those that will bring up the children for tomorrow? Is it me and you that have run to exile? You know, people don't even know that they're already in exile. You don't know you're already in exile. When you have gone to a city, a land, you have your family there, and you are not even ready to take your family back home. What are you in? You have given yourself self-exile. You don't even know. You don't know. And when we tell you that the only way is freedom, you don't understand. You think we are mad. You think we are fools by telling you to accept to fight, to defend yourself and to fight for your freedom.
The rising sun of Biafra is set forever. It will be a great disservice for anyone.
This is Gowon that is talking now. Go on, listen.
To continue to use the word Biafra to refer to any part of the east central state of Nigeria. The tragic chapter of violence is just ended. We are at the dawn of national reconciliation. Once again, we have an opportunity to build a new nation. You will have heard that my government may seek the assistance of friendly foreign governments and bodies, especially in the provision of equipment to supplement our national effort. There are, however, a number of foreign governments and organizations whose so-called assistance will not be welcome. These are the governments and organizations which sustained the rebellion. They are thus guilty of the blood of thousands.
They called Biafrans the rebellion. They called us rebellions. They call our fathers rebellion. You see, when you see the anger and the bitterness in the voice, in the tone of go on now, you will see it in his face, even as we talk today. look at his face, and you will see the bitterness and the anger still in his face. They don't hate us because we do or we have done anything wrong to them. No, because of who we are. That is why they despise and hate us. That is why they want us. Guy Fusie, they want to make fool anyhow, anywhere. They don't want our presence anywhere in this life. Yeah. You see, you listen to him, you see the bitterness. You see the bitterness. God.
who perished because of the prolongation of the futile resistance. They did not act out of love for humanity. Their purpose was to disintegrate Nigeria and Africa and impose their will on us.
Now, I'm sure you listened to the British that was part of the British national that was part of the war. He witnessed the Biafran war. He decided to visit there and he gave his own recount. Now, according to him, if you didn't understand some of the things he was saying, he said that what Lagos was saying was different from what the military conscription, that is about 80,000 military men who were conscripted to ensure that the Biafran war doesn't continue. The orders they were carrying was completely different because he said it was a bloodbath. There was so much civilian casualty. They weren't necessarily targeting those who were fighting. They were targeting the women and the children. Talked about the fact that they went to a church where they saw people praying. All of them, about 300 of them, were brought in, their hands tied back, and they were shot at close range. Bodies piled as high up until the shoulder, and other events across the southeast like that transpired. Now, before we even go into that, what caused the secession? What was the call for secession? The counter coup, the program in 1966. Now, before then, they were already disgruntled. The disgruntled was the fact that there were talks from every other region that the Igbos liked to dominate wherever it is they find themselves. In fact, the Sardauna al-Sokoto actually made such a disclosure. He made a statement by saying that wherever the Igbos find themselves, they want to take over. Now, you know that the Southeasterners are known to be industrious. They understand placement. They understand solidifying and having a base wherever it is they reside. But a couple of other regions did not like that aspect. They felt that they liked to show off. They liked to act like they owned it. And then obviously there were disgruntles in the bellies of others, specifically in other regions where they were residing. So when that situation happened, where the Sardauna was killed, it was an opportunity for the kind of genocidal melee that took place to happen. Now let's take a listen to the Sardauna's interview in 1966 before the Biafran War.
Sorry, this interview you are about to listen is before the Biafran War, because they are telling you that the cause of everything is Biafran War. They are telling you that the cause of hatred is Biafran War. They are telling you that the reason why you are being denied and rejected and minused is because of the war, 1966 coup, right? Either they tell you it's 1960s coup or Biafran War. I want you to listen to something that happened before the coup and the Biafran War. That is what you're about to listen. Listen very well.
Notice, Premier, while I've been here, is that Northerners seem to have, I might almost call it obsession about the Igbos. Could you perhaps explain that to me?
Well, the Igbos are more or less the type of people whose desire is mainly to dominate everybody. If they go to a village, to a town, they want to monopolize everything in that area. If you put them in a labor camp as a laborer, within a year they will try to emerge as headman of that camp, and so on. Well, in the past, our people were not alive to their responsibilities, because you can see from our Northernization policy that in 1952, when I came here, there weren't 10 Northerners in
Northernization policy. Are you getting it? All these things are what people are not remembering, that they are still in work. They are still at work. They are still at work as we are talking. There are things, there is something that is called northernization policy, but we do not put them in mind. We have forgotten all these things. We are looking at Nnamdi Kanu is a terrorist. Simon Ekpa is a terrorist. Everybody that talk about Biafra, you are a terrorist. That is what the policy they have now. Soludo can never tell you about this northernization policy. And what is this northernization policy? Listen to the meaning and the explanation of northernization policy. Listen.
are northernized, and now all important posts are being held by Northerners.
Is this policy of filling all...
The northernization policy is that every important post must be held by northerner. Are you hearing it?
all key posts in the north solely with Northerners and not with other Nigerians, a temporary or permanent one?
In actual fact, what it is a Northerner first. If you can't get a Northerner, then we take an expatriate like yourself on contract.
Did you get that? It means northerners first. The northern policy means northerner first. In a position where they cannot get a northerner, they will employ expatriates like a British, US, Canadian to do the job. Or they will employ Soludo, they will employ Hopu Zodema, they will employ, what is his name? Joey Bope, they will employ what is his name? Ejiofor. They will employ, and so many of them, Ikengu Ragu, employ so anybody they employ them to carry out the job. On what? On contract. It's not just common employment to come and work, sign paper. No. They employ you on contract. I want you to listen again. Listen again. Listen.
Contract. If we can't, then we can employ another Nigerian, but on contract too. This is going to be permanent, I should say, as far as I can foresee, because it will be rather dangerous to see the number of boys who are now turning from all our learning institutions, coming out with having no work to do. I'm sure whichever government of the day might be, it will feel rather embarrassed, and it might even lead to bloodshed.
Doesn't this damage the idea?
Did you get it? That they can even employ other Nigerians on contract. And this contract have a time, and the season is not forever. When you see Bianca Ono today gallivanting as foreign minister, she's on contract. Are you getting the message? When you don't understand what these people have done, when you don't understand the kind of policy we are treading upon, you don't understand the policy Iwenyanwu, let Ifanyo, let Iwenyanwu, and the rest of them. Chukwu Merije. I don't know how many of you that remember Chukwu Merije. I don't know. Minister for Information. You are calling Liar Mohammed the Liar Mohammed. No! Chukwu Merije is the manufacturer of Liar Mohammed. Liar Mohammed, they have to go and they learn from what Chukwu Merije did in 90s. Chukwu Merije will come out to now and tell you that MKO Abiola, you know, that died since. Chukwu Merije will come out and tell you that MKO Abiola is not dead. He's alive. They buried empty casket. You think he will stand on that and tell you, and before you know it, the media will carry it like that. Chukwu Merije. Go and find out who is Chukwu Merije. Who is Chukwu Merije? An Igbo man. An Igbo man. Remember that word, that sentence, that message. We use Igbos to destroy Igbos. We use Igbos to get Igbos. When people, the Igbos were saying like, if we cannot trust even Abiola, we want to go. What did they do? They went and contracted Aton Zeribe, Francis Aton Zeribe. Come, become the chairman of Better 4-1 Association. You know he's intelligent. Intelligent that he cannot even liberate himself and not his own children, not his own town. Adon Zeribe came from Uguta, the first place oil and gas were discovered in the zoo. Uguta. You know, when people are ranting, oil, you forget that we have gas, oil in Uguta. Francis Zeribe, Adon Zeribe, came from the place you have oil and the gas. And then he decided to serve the people that are enslaving him. And you could go to good and see now. Go to good and see. Nothing. Nothing is there. Nothing is there. When we are talking about oil and the contractors and the oil well, and why are we don't even remember Uguta. We don't remember Uguta. Adon Zeribe volunteered himself and formed what was called Association for Better Nigeria to make Igbos believe that this Nigeria will be good for all of us. And everybody went into their shells and remained mute. I am still asking a question. Why was Obasanjo involved in the annulment of June 12th? And then you ask yourself, why did the Abacha threw Obasanjo into dungeon in the name that they planned coup? Can you imagine? Can you just bring things into... Listen, Obasanjo was involved, probably because I wasn't there. Obasanjo involving himself to annul the June 12th is probably because he wants to become the president. And when Obasanjo found out that he cannot, Abacha is not going to relinquish this seat to, what did Obasanjo do? Obasanjo tried to topple the government of Abacha under military government. And Abacha catch him, threw him inside prison. Because all of them were good together. All of them planned. The original plan itself no be say make Abacha can't stay forever. The Abacha just want to test the seat. And then they hand over to civilian. The organized civilian. Who they ring me? Who is this? Okay. Let's just listen to this before I come back.
The United States of America is a steadfast supporter of the principles that people have a right to choose their own form of government. Nations have a right to choose their own alliances. There are inalienable rights governments must protect. The rule of law must be cherished. Sovereignty and territorial integrity of all states must be respected.
The UN Charter and its principles of sovereignty, territorial integrity, human dignity, and the right to self-defense, these principles are universal and we must uphold them. International law must be protected always and everywhere, without any ambiguity, in Ukraine, in the Middle East, and everywhere in the world. This is our global responsibility.
Self-preservation must be protected at all costs. Today, the Biafra Liberation Army have neutralized dozens of these terrorists in our land. and we are proud of them. They will continue to go down. Our demand is very simple. Pull them out of Biafra land. Remove every checkpoint. If you do not dismantle all the checkpoints, they will continue to.
Yes, of all people in all regions in Nigeria being fellow citizens of one country.
Disgruntled. The disgruntled was the fact that there were talks from
Listen,
every other
oh,
region
listen.
that the Igbos liked to dominate wherever it is they find themselves. In fact, the Sardauna Al Sokoto actually made such a disclosure. He made a statement by saying that wherever the Igbos find themselves, they want to take over. Now, you know that the Southeasterners are known to be industrious. They understand placement. They understand solidifying and having a base wherever it is they reside. But a couple of other regions did not like that aspect. They felt that they liked to show off. They liked to act like they owned it. And then obviously there were disgruntles in the bellies of others, specifically in other regions where they were residing. So when that situation happened, where the Sardauna was killed, it was an opportunity for the kind of genocidal melee that took place to happen. Now, let's take a listen to the Sardauna's interview in 1966, before the Biafran War.
Notice, Premier, while I've been here, is that Northerners seem to have, I might almost call it obsession about the Igbos. Could you perhaps explain that to me?
Well, the Igbos are more or less the type of people whose desire is mainly to dominate everybody. If they go to a village, to a town, they want to monopolize everything in that area. If you put them in a labor camp as a laborer, within a year they will try to emerge as headman of that camp, and so on. Well, in the past, our people were not alive to their responsibilities, because you can see from our Northernization policy that in 1952, when I came here, there weren't 10 Northerners in our Northernized, and now all important posts are being held by Northerners.
Is this policy of filling all key posts in the North solely with Northerners and not with other Nigerians a temporary or a permanent one?
In actual fact, what it is a Northerner first. If you can't get a Northerner, then we take an expatriate like yourself on contract. If we can't, then we can employ another Nigerian, but on contract too. This is going to be permanent, I should say, as far as I can foresee, because it will be rather dangerous to see the number of boys who are now turning from all our learning institutions, coming out with having no work to do. I'm sure whichever government of the day might be, it will feel rather embarrassed, and it might even lead to bloodshed.
Doesn't this damage the idea, sir, of all people in all regions in Nigeria being fellow citizens of one country?
Well, it might, but you are, I mean, new to our region, but how many Northerners are employed in the East or in the West? The answer is no. And if there may be 10 laborers employed only in the two regions.
Oh, well, that was a Sardauna at the time saying that the Northerners first, and this was where the disgruntled for those who thought that they were being industrious, seemed to be persons who really wanted a good life wherever it was they settled. They did not know that there was envy. They did not know that there was malice. They did not know that their neighbors were not happy because they considered them expansionist. Now, when the program happened, it was really deadly. I'm sure a lot of persons were able to give their own account of what transpired at the time, how neighbors you thought were your family members, even if you were not speaking the same language, took their machetes and did what they did. This book actually created an opportunity for a lot of Nigerians who did not really understand history to go back in time to read. And a couple of persons are asking, why did IBB come now for this? What exactly was the concept for this? A couple of people feel it is a good thing that he's coming out to make all of these statements because the vindictiveness, the ethnic discoloration against a certain region has created a problem and a shortcoming for that region. Now, former chairman of the Nigerian Human Rights Commission, Chidi Odinkalu, has accused the former military head of state, General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, of telling lies against dead men and women in his autobiography, A Journey in Service. Was he actually telling lies? He was giving his own perspective and his own experience during the coup and the civil war. Now, IBB's regime is controversially remembered for the annulment of the June 12, 1993 presidential election, which was won by Chief MKO Abiola, and many other controversies such as the 1986 Paso bomb assassination of investigative journalist Dele Giwa, who had been reporting on corruption and human rights violations. IBB's regime also witnessed multiple alleged coup attempts, resulting in executions and imprisonment of military officers, including his close friend Vatsamaman. Now, in the autobiography which was launched on Thursday, IBB admitted categorically to the entire world that indeed Abiola won the June 12 election, but he blamed his late colleague General Sani Abacha for the annulment of that election. Reacting to the content of the book, Chidi Odinkalu, in a series of posts, claimed that Babangida deliberately waited until all the people he accused died before launching the book. He described IBB as a grand commander of the Order of Cowardice. Odinkalu said that the former military president portrayed himself in the book as a victim of dead men and women. Now, he went ahead to write, the only question that must be pursued by those interested must be how a man so devoid of character and values was allowed to travel so far in the military to the point where for a generation he could routinely pick and choose at his whim which soldier could or should rule Nigeria. Conveniently, Babangida committed record keeper could not produce any contemporaneous records, minutes, notes, or other evidence to corroborate any of the serious claims of allegations he makes about these dead men and women. All hail the Grand Commander of the Order of Cowardice. That's what Chidi Odinkalu said. Meanwhile, Gumsu Abacha, the daughter of the late Nigerian military head of state, Major General Sani Abacha, has slammed former military head, Major General Ibrahim Babangida, over his allegation against her father in regards to the annulment of the June 12, 1993 presidential election. Now, Babangida had, in the launching of his autobiography, put the controversies surrounding to the June 12 election to rest as he finally admitted that the late Nigerian businessman and politician Moshood Abiola won the election. Now, Babangida claimed that the election was annulled without his authority, a plot he alleged to be carried out inside forces led by Abacha. This enraged the late military chief's daughter, Gumsu, who in a statement on her X handle on Friday fired back at IBB. She cited several extracts where Babangida mentioned Abacha's involvement in the annulment. Gumsu accused Babangida of altering history, stressing that the facts told a different story. Now, she says, through your book reviewer, former Vice President Yemi Oshibajo, you admitted that Chief MKO Abiola won the June 12, 1993 election, a truth long known to Nigerians. Yet you have shifted the blame to General Sani Abacha, claiming he was your biggest headache and the mastermind behind the annulment. You wrote, without question, one of my biggest headaches at this time was Sani Abacha. I knew that Abacha was ambivalent about a return to civil rule and alleged he led forces that annulled the election without your authority while you were in Katsina. This narrative casting Abacha as a villain and yourself as a sideline bystander is a convenient rewrite of history. Now, a lot of persons feel so, and a lot of persons have come out to say it was bold and brazen, and would I say a sort of heroism that IBB decided to tell his truth. And this is something that all those who were involved, some did and some could not say. Even General Ojukwu did not really write anything about the Biafran War, although there were interviews where he talked about what transpired and what led to the secession of Biafra. Now, she proceeded to question Babangida, why did he make Abacha his chief of defense staff if indeed he never trusted him? Gumsu maintained that the election was annulled under Babangida's administration while accusing him of betraying her father's loyalty. I'm going to be calling Barrister Eze.
Now, this program, the video is so long, we will not finish it now. I will come back in part 2. We will listen to what Barrister Eze Darlington have to say. But I want you to know that we do not want to believe our own, like I wrote in the title. Rather, we sabotage them, we condemn them, we kill them. Now, because of we, name that Bob Marley sing that song, How Long Shall They Kill? Listen, the song is How Long Shall We Kill Our Own Prophets? Why we take glory of them all out of our foolishness? We place our trust on the enemies. Now our hands is filled with their blood. We have chosen to believe the enemies. Ojukwu saw the pogrom. Ojukwu saw everything. Go and find out the history of our people before the independence of Nigeria. I'm not talking before the war. I'm not talking before the coup. No, before the Nigeria so-called independence. Go and find out. How have you been treated? You have never been accepted. I'm sorry, both Yoruba people, because if you listen to Sadoano of Sokoto here, even Yoruba, no wonder Yoruba people will always sabotage you, because this is about contracts. It's about contract. That is why they will always sabotage you. And then the foolish will be the Igbo-phobias. They know already, Yoruba have come to realize or understand the truth that this is about contract. Therefore, you Igbo man no come build house for my land. Go your papa land, go build them. But we Igbo men who know they hear, we know to understand. We go build, finish, they go destroy them. Remember saying a contract, we know to understand. We are going beyond the boundaries of the contract. They know Nigeria, they are working on contracts. Before you go into any contract, what is it that you need to do? You must agree to the terms and services of that contract. You must sign, you must endorse, you must endorse. It's not just endorse to be a good but no, you have to endorse to work according to the rules and regulation of that contract. That is why when you see Dave Umahi today, he will tell you he is building a contract road, a road from Calabar to Lagos. When road from Lagos to his father's house is evil road, dead zone, dead end. He is building a road, traditional road, express road, heavenly road, a professional road. Road from Onitsha to Ebonyi State is dead end. Enugu have everything dead end. Are you getting the message? Because it's not about how he wanted it to be, but about the contract he has signed. Before he signed the contract, some things has been mapped out. Imagine we Furu going to Abuja to beg them to talk to the Fulanese to allow them to live in peace with their people. People in your land, the Fulanese in your land, you have to go to the north to beg them to come and they talk to them so they will live in peace with you in your own land. The same thing the Yorubas are doing. The same thing they have done that make Afonja to think he want to kill me. He go kill himself by giving a lorry to them. Today, they have a Emir of a lorry. You have Oba for a lorry. Today, very soon, you no go even get governor again. Na Emir you go get. We tell you that they are wiping away the line, the handwritings on the wall. Very soon, you will not have traditional rule again. By the way, before now, when I was little, I remember my grandfather. He was a king. If anybody, any politician, even those that come from, they will want to come and they pay homage for him to bless them. If election is coming, consider they bring mmanya ngwo, mmanya elu, mmanya bottle, mmanya oku. They want to get his blessings. But today, now the traditional rulers, they go get blessings from politicians. They have turned everything upside down. Have you forgotten? Have you forgotten? Listen, I want you to understand something. Go and find out. I want you to listen to me. Hold on. I want to record this part. Okay, now go and find out. Everywhere they have king in the olden days, till today, the king is supreme to the government. You have king in Jordan, you have king in Spain, you have king in Saudi Arabia, you have king, you can name them. The king of Saudi Arabia is greater than the government. The king in Saudi Arabia gives order to the government. The king in Spain gives order to the government. If the government, if the president or prime minister is doing it, they will call him, the king will tell you, stop that thing you are doing. Go and sit down. Whenever king speak, in the UK, United Kingdom, when the king speak, it is over. Am I lying? Why is it different today? But they come to our land and found out that we have the same power, that the king is supreme. They said no. England, not United. England today, they have a king. The king speaks, that is the final. Just like we used to have in the olden days in our land. But they came, they told us today that they have to give you authority to become king in your community. They have to give you authority to become king in your authority, in your community. But before they came to our land, they met our king. I read one small book, a drama, Oba Ofaranwe Nobaisi. If you have not read that story, it's a true story, it's a true history. That is why they wiped away history in our schools. Our children today don't know anything about what happened yesterday. They don't know anything. Today, if you go to school and ask people, do you know about Oba Ofaranwe Nobaisi? Nobody knows him. Oba Obaran, when nobody refused to bow to any woman and bow to any man, he said, I am a king. A king does not, will not, cannot, is never going to bow down to anybody. If you can find that, you can finish it under 30 minutes. But it's a very interesting drama. Now, today, what do we get? We have traditional rulers that are being made and ordained and given staff of office by politicians. The same politician yesterday that they come to bow down to our kings to get power, to get blessings, are today. If a traditional ruler talk, they will take away his staff of office because they gave it to him. What have changed? Why are we here? Why are they not bowing down to their own politicians? But they have subjected us to bow down to politicians. They imposed on us. We know they hear and we know they understand them. That is my pen. That was why Ojukwu went to Aburi. Nobody followed him. None of his brothers went there with him. None of the people he was fighting for went there with him. Yet he went there, he conquered them there. He came back and told them, look at what we have agreed. They did not follow him. They did not believe him. They all rejected Ojukwu. They rejected Ojukwu. What is his name? Azikiwe rejected Ojukwu with his Aburi Accord. Michael Opara, the same thing. The other one, all of them, the whole Igbo, the whole Easterner, they rejected Ojukwu with agreement that we are now going to live independent from being massacred in the hand of. That they said, Ojukwu, you a fool. They joined Gowon to sabotage Ojukwu. They joined Gowon to sabotage Ojukwu. Today, who is reaping the pains and sorrow? Who is reaping the thorns? Who is reaping the pains, the crying? Is it not we? Oh yeah, we have Jesus. Let the blood be upon our children's head and our children. We are paying unless we fight to liberate ourselves from this bondage. Nobody is going to save us. Thank you so much. Later in the day, we will come back with part 2 of this. We will listen to the setting of Obasanjo. What is his name? IBB book, because he lied. Everything he told, the only truth he told that was that the June 12th was annulled. It's true, we know it was annulled. But who annulled it? He went and told you that Abacha annulled it. How could Abacha annul the election you as a military president did not annul? When they tell people, people don't understand. When they tell people, people don't understand. I will hang it here until we meet again later in the day. Thank you so much and bye for now.